excellent answer
Thank
to
you.
that question.
I
It's
tried.
almost like you're a professional.
I tried.
I guess we'll move on to
Okay.
question number 2. Hi, I am Jen Harrington, and this is my show, Eat In or Dine Out, which typically takes place in my kitchen. But if you've seen the show before, you know that this is not my kitchen, although lovely. It is the Likeable Studios, and I'm joined by the fabulous Carrie Kerpen, who's joining me today on the show. You actually founded Likeable, again, where we are right now, many, many years ago,
Yes.
as one of the first, if not the first, global social media agency. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, in 2007, there were no social media agencies. There were a select few people daring to call themselves that. And we did dare, and we built it up and grew it.
She grew it, she sold it, and then she took all of that knowledge that she had from building her own agency into helping other women-owned businesses grow value in their businesses and then figure out how to sell them. And that is why, my friends, Carrie is on this show today. So, the premise of the show, which I know I have shared with you, but I will say it for everyone else, is eat in or dine out. So the topic can either be building your own internal agency or building an agency from the inside out.
Okay.
Or we can talk about the things that clients might want to think about when it comes to outsourcing and finding the right partner. That would be the dine out option. So you get to choose, should we eat in or dine out? Dine out meaning we get takeout of some variety.
Okay, so we'd have takeout, but it's here.
But it's here.
Okay. Well, Jen, I'm thinking two things here. First, I'm thinking I've helped a lot of agencies scale and grow, so I think I might be able to do that. And therefore, that might be dine out. But also, we need to dine out because we're in New York, baby.
Yes!
We are in New York City. We got to dine out.
Dine out it is. Carrie, you said dine out. So we picked the best that we could find. Even though the premise of dine out was something in New York, I'm from Boston, so sorry to say, we're doing Dunks.
Listen, I get it. I am a Dunks fan. I lived in Boston, for like 8 years when my coffee habit started in college. When I was in Boston, and thus Dunkin is my coffee and cuisine of choice. So it's actually quite good. I'm so glad. Yes.
Mine as well. And I think we have to do a Dunkin' swirl.
Oh, we have to do the swirl. I can't even believe, what am I, an amateur? I sipped before the swirl.
We gotta do a swirl and toast.
Love it.
And a sip, as if I need any more caffeine. Question number 1. You have been on both sides, running an agency and now advising an agency. From a client's perspective, how can you better understand how an agency approaches assembling talent, freelance, permanent, and also how they cultivate and retain talent?
I think if I'm thinking about it now from the CMO's perspective, right? So I'm stepping in there, and listen, agencies have a challenge. Big agencies are very bloated. So what happens is a fancy, fabulous person comes in and pitches you, and then you get a total bait and switch. Teeny agencies are generally founder-led and have trouble building up to the talent that they need. So they come in and they either have to do all the work or it could fall apart. And the real answer that a CMO needs to ask is what's it like in your world? And ideally your world falls somewhere in the middle. You can answer with ease how you are going to staff that client, who is going to be working on the client, what it's going to be like in the day-to-day. And they have to see that it's more than just you, but it's also not just some junior people that you're throwing it to. At the end of the day, CMOs are buying brain power. They're buying people. They're buying people who get it done. And so whether that's freelance or full-time is actually less relevant than understanding and being able to explain as an agency what the process is. So I want a CMO to ask those questions, and then I want the agency to be able to articulate how they're going to staff, who does it, and the benefit of why their system or their structure works.
Excellent
Oh,
answer to that question. question.
I
It's
tried.
almost like you're a professional.
I tried.
I guess we'll move on to
Okay.
question number 2.
Okay.
There's been a bit of a run towards independent agencies in the last couple of years. I think big brands are really interested in working with smaller independent agencies, but there are a lot of questions that I think those bigger brands have about how do I know that you can scale to work in the way that I need to work, even if I'm giving you a chance to try something new or however they set that up. So what kinds of questions do you think brands should be asking about the agency's ability to scale?
Yeah, so I have an interesting story about this, about when I was
love it.
running Likeable. So when I was building Likeable, we were probably like about 25 people at this point, and a very large Fortune 500 brand came to us, and they had multiple brands under one arc. Okay. So House of Brands. So they come to us. Yeah, great client to have. I mean, it could be amazing.
No, yeah.
But could I scale for them?
Yeah.
And that was their fear. And CMOs, you know, it's very challenging to be a CMO in today's world because
100%.
the spotlight's
I've never
on
been
you.
one, but
No, I mean, if you talk to them, and I know you do on
Yeah.
the show, like,
Yeah.
it's tough. You have to show performance. So to take a chance with a smaller agency, they have to feel like they're going to get all of like that creative, innovative brain power and that heart that they'll get. But they also have to feel like they're going to be able to get that scale. And so what you need to do as a smaller agency, and what I did when they came to me, was articulate exactly how I would scale. And I needed to say, okay, when you grow to this, this is how I will grow that, and really be able to articulate that it was a mix, and it was at a time, a mix of freelance, a mix of talent that I already had in the in my talent bank.
Yeah.
And because the reality was, as a 20 to 25 person agency, I couldn't take a bet and say, okay, we're going to scale to 100 right now, and I'm going to put all those people on payroll. I couldn't.
Yeah.
The CMO would understand that if I could articulate how I would be able to scale with ease without like, I'm going to scramble around and make this happen. I needed a solid plan. And when I presented the plan, they were able to take the chance.
It's interesting that you should raise the point about asking how agencies can scale, because I don't think a lot of CMOs ask that question.
Yeah.
The talent denominator is actually the premise for the show, which is it's really, really hard to figure out how to assemble talent, where to go for talent. Can you talk a little bit about the different ways that you've seen seen agencies approach that?
Absolutely. When you look at, it depends on what kind of agency, right? But so for social media agencies that when we were building,
like
you'd build an entire creator network now. So you would have a network of creators. Similarly, you can have a freelance network.
Yeah.
And the thing about freelancers is people hear freelance and they think, oh, they're just like picking people up off the street and like whoever's doing your work. But the reality is, if an agency has a strong freelance network or a group of talent that they go to, whether it's freelance or full-time becomes much less relevant to the CMO. It's, are these people that your agency trusts? Are these people that are quality? Are they people who consistently produce good work?
Yeah.
And I think that's what a CMO needs to see to feel confident to take the chance. And I hope every one of them does, because the brain power and heart that comes out of these small agencies, it's just unlike any other. They're not under the same pressures.
Carrie, I like when I start that you just laugh.
I do, every time, because we're sitting here with Dunkin' Donuts in New York.
It's perfect.
New York.
Boston. So we should talk about this a little bit, because you're a New York girl and I'm a Boston girl, thus the hats. Do you want to talk about your hat?
My hat
Go
is...
ahead. Fine,
Okay,
I'll give
so
you the room to
no,
talk
it's actually
about
quite
it.
pathetic, Jen. It's really pathetic. You guys have great sports teams, and listen.
She said it.
You guys have great sports teams.
Great sports teams.
New York has good sports teams, but I am a hardcore Mets fan, which is like the saddest existence in life, you know? So that's why I'm wearing this hat, because it's like, I'm too sad. I'm wearing my New York or Nowhere with like a subtle Mets logo in the back. Like it's
a nod to the Mets.
It's a nod.
It's a
I love
nod
the Mets.
to the Mets.
If you want to learn how to be resilient in marketing or anywhere, become a Mets fan. It's like you get used to disappointment, and yet you still press on. You still press on.
thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, you're welcome.
And eating a donut.
Eating a lot of gluten.
A lot
while
of
you
gluten.
were dainty.
Well, I was dainty, but I did have my iced coffee, which was great.
Okay.
This is the part of the show where you get a chance to do a shameless plug.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So I brought the book that I bought of yours so that you could do that.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I
Okay.
know, so share about it.
Thank you. Okay, this is the Whisper Way, which is the secret formula for women entrepreneurs to scale and sell for life-changing money. Now, it is great for women agency owners or even male agency owners, all agency owners who want to understand what goes into scaling their business, but it's also great for CMOs because they should see like what goes into being an entrepreneur, what goes into building that agency.
If I had 1 ounce of your passion, I feel like I really I gotta read it again. So buy the book and follow us on LinkedIn.
And subscribe on YouTube.
And subscribe
Don't forget.
on YouTube.
Yes.
And thanks for joining us.
Cheers.
Mhm.